This kind of mentality that guides a lot of people is why we can't have nice things. Hi, my name is Sydney. Welcome back to hell. It is genuinely remarkable to me how fast culturally we swing from one extreme to the other. For literally years on this channel, I have told all of you about why the fat acceptance and body positivity movements were just awful.
Everyone should be a fat liberationist. It's really quite simple. Everyone in a society that has the system of fat phobia within it, which is most westernized or colonized areas, is going to be negatively impacted by fat phobia and anti-fat bias.
I mean, I am a fat liberationist. I want to liberate myself from being fat. That's why I cry at the gym multiple times a week. Don't get me wrong, I still believe this, that the body positivity movement went mad and the crazy overemphasis on obesity that we've seen over the years was taken way too far. I mean, I don't think we should put emphasis on being obese at all, but you know what I mean. But thanks to Ozempic and I guess other weight loss injections, we are seeing this revival in a way of the 2000s heroin chic that is also pretty gosh darn alarming, especially when it comes to celebrities and other people who have become cupboard blind to their own thinness. Does that analogy even work here? I don't know, but we are running with it. Coincidentally, a thing that neither the fat acceptance people or Ozempic skinny people can do at this stage. This is actually quite funny to me specifically because I don't know if I've ever said this in a video necessarily, but I have absolutely said this in my personal life. I think that a lot of people perceive regular skinny people, so those who are just normal looking human beings who are on the skinny side, people are like, oh, you're so skinny, you need to eat a burger, because they're so used to obesity that regular skinny people look too skinny, if that makes sense. But what we are seeing here, what we're talking about in this video, this level of skinniness, it's not the same thing. This level of skinniness is like, hey, I think you need to consume some calories or you will perish. In mid-March 2026, Page 6 magazine, I think that's what they're called, ran an article headlined, "Stylosphere Hollywood stars are blind to how skinny they really are," while health expert warns of malnutrition and muscle waste. This article describes how female celebrities in particular are starting to look alarmingly thin, especially on red carpets. The author explains how these celebrities are allegedly microdosing Ozempic. That's not a sentence I ever thought I'd say, but here we are, which basically means that they're taking much smaller quantities than the recommended dosage, and how essentially body positivity died overnight as soon as GLP-1s, or the drugs that allow this sort of weight loss to happen, hit the market. Again, also a little bit funny and sad to me because I actually made this exact same argument in a video that I made not too long ago about how fat acceptance is over. I basically said that fat acceptance, body positivity, whatever, has fallen by the wayside because finally people have a way of having the body that they actually want without having to put in the traditional amount of effort. And so therefore they don't have to be fat and they don't have to pretend that they like being fat. So I guess it's true. Everybody does want to be a fat liberationist at the end of the day. Now, obviously, it isn't only the people over at Page 6 noticing this really quite concerning new skinny trend. Towards the end of February 2026, actress Jameela Jamil made an Instagram post where she said that the women attending the BAFTAs, which is a British film and television award ceremony show thing, were so thin that they looked like they could snap. She said that it is a fragile type of thin and she resents it being pushed as the beauty standard on everyone else. This also isn't the first time that Jameela Jamil specifically has made comments about this type of thing, considering that she herself apparently suffered from an ED for a very, very long time. ED being eating schmishmorda, if you know what I mean. At the end of 2025, she posted a TikTok video where she wholesale calls out how emaciated Hollywood celebrities are and how insane it is to be this way.
It is not body shaming to comment on the fact that there is a rapid rise of the aesthetic of emaciation amongst women in Hollywood, women in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s even, all of a sudden becoming so thin that you can see their ribs, you can see their hip bones jutting out, their arms, you can see the kind of bone and muscle. No one's saying, oh, they look disgusting, oh, this is so foul to look at, it's unsexy. That would be body shaming. What we are commenting on it for is because it's so widespread, it's so extreme, it's happened so fast, and the question is, who is pushing this aesthetic?
I am not gonna lie, I am not super sure who Jamila Jamil is referring to as far as the BAFTAs go, because, you know, after the whole Tourette's dust up, I don't really think I paid attention to much else. Yeah, after that whole crap show, I can't really say that I was terribly focused on whose collarbones are poking them in the face. But I am extremely focused on stopping your bad habits, stopping you from smoking and vaping, which is why today's video is sponsored by Fume, and you better watch my ad, or I'll cry and scream. In this day and age, chemicals are unavoidable. You touch them when you wash your dishes, they're in your laundry detergent. But you wanna know what you don't have to do? Inhale toxic chemicals directly into your lungs. Which is exactly what you're doing with your little cancer sticks and your watermelon vapes. Oh yes, I see you with your watermelon vapes. But guess what? You can have all the tasty flavors and the feeling of puffing on something without all the yucky toxins, thanks to Fume. Firstly, Fume's delicious flavors will smack any vape flavors into outer space because it has way better options like crisp mint, mango, orange vanilla, just to name a few. And guess what? You don't smell like smoke or weird chemicals after using your Fume. But guess what? You can enjoy all of these flavors without bringing gross chemicals into your body because Fume is a flavored air device that doesn't use any heating components or vapor. Yes, it's not a vape. Instead, it uses these flavored cores, which you just pop into your Fume and go. Your Fume also comes with movable parts and magnets for your fidgety fingers, as well as some neato little accessories like this magnetic Fume base and this Fume topper. So unlike your cancer sticks and your vape, you don't have to be trapped because Fume is here to give you a better alternative to all the chemicals and yuckiness. So if you are ready and willing to say goodbye cancer sticks, goodbye watermelon vape, you're so bad for me, then click the link in the description or go to tryfume.com/Sydney or scan the QR code on screen. And don't forget to use code Sydney to get your free Fume topper when you order a journey pack. Hell yeah. But around the time that Jamila Jamil was commenting on the BAFTAs, people were losing their absolute minds online because of Kelly Osbourne, the daughter of the late Ozzy Osbourne, who was in Black Sabbath, I think. I gotta Google that if I leave this in, that he was in Black Sabbath. Anyway, Kelly Osbourne made an appearance at the 2026 Brit Awards, which was also at the end of February, looking really what can be best described as extremely frail. Kelly appeared alongside her mother Sharon to accept an award on Ozzy's behalf, but her physical appearance sort of overshadowed the event, and actually, like, honestly, both of their appearances did. Standing alongside her mother, Kelly just looks so small and so skeletal. I mean, Sharon does too, realistically, but Kelly just looks... well, I mean, you guys are going to be judging, you're seeing it on screen. And I mean, for those of you who are not familiar with Kelly Osbourne, this is a very far cry from the Kelly Osbourne that many of us remember. For those who don't know or who have forgotten, Kelly became very well known when her family started their own reality show called The Osbournes, and for years she was just relentlessly bullied online and in tabloids for being overweight. I'm sure all this criticism totally ate away at her confidence because in 2018 she got a gastric sleeve surgery, and by 2024 she was praising Ozempic and calling it amazing. She also said that the people who are criticizing it the most are either doing it secretly or mad that they can't afford it. Wow, wee girly pop, what a statement. She actually had to address some of these comments on the Osbourne Family podcast in 2024, where she sort of tried to explain her position, but I'm not sure that this even went over so well with her and loved ones.
I made some comments about Ozempic recently where it was like 50% of the people hated it, 50% of people liked it, and then on TikTok everyone hated it. But the truth is, my opinion used to be the same as the people who didn't like my opinion on Ozempic. until I met somebody who lost weight from Ozempic and it changed their life. Not you, Mum. You weren't like huge to begin with.
Yeah, I was.
No, you weren't. And it, like, how it changed their life, and how they explained to me how it took the mental obsession with food away, and it allowed them, from that reprieve, it allowed them to dig deeper through therapy and really figure out who they were and how life-changing it was for them.
Yeah.
That it completely changed my opinion on it. So I'm like, yeah, it's great. If there's a medication out there that can help people lose weight, then what's it so bad about it?
This was filmed in early-ish 2024, so about 2 years ago, and you can see, even here, she just looks really, really, really tiny. And I hate passing judgment on skinny people, because when I was a teenager, when I was growing up, I was so skinny and people were kind of mean to me about it. You know, I used to get all the same "eat a burger" comments, but I can't help but look at these people and know that they're absolutely not consuming enough calories to be sustaining themselves on the day-to-day. And so you do want to say, please, eat a burger. Now, because we can all read the room and get some context clues out of all of this, I think it's fair to assume that that Kelly Osbourne is in fact taking Ozempic, not only, you know, in the 2024 clip, but also in this new one. I think it's pretty clear that her and her mum are doing a little jabby jab. This is the injection. But I do think it is worth noting that the Osbournes as a family did lose a dad and husband in January 2025 when Ozzy passed away. And, you know, for anybody who's lost anybody close to them, you know that that completely wreaks havoc on your emotional and physical well-being. Kelly and Sharon have both said that grief is the cause of Kelly's current frail appearance, which has definitely got worse over the last few months. So, you know, I don't really want to bash her because I am certain that she's going through it, but I also don't think chalking up this massive amount of weight loss to the death of her dad is accurate, because I think, as I've shown you, she's looked this way for a long time. It's just obviously gotten a lot worse in the last little while, but she's been skinny and on the scary end of skinny for at least 2 years. And like the page 6 article, like Jamila Jamil's comments and Kelly Osbourne's appearance, this has sparked a whole new conversation around the use of Ozempic and other GLP-1s. Because Kelly Osbourne is not the only celebrity or not the only person in the public sphere who looks like they're going to break a leg and die. I have actually mentioned this before, but just to reiterate, when the body positivity movement started to fall out of favor very recently, we saw all these articles popping up that said that heroin chic was back on the rise and that this 90s and 2000s thinness was also making a comeback, and I have seen more and more and more of that sentiment popping up recently. Someone said basically exactly this the other day, posting this video of a woman on Twitter who very clearly has an ED, but they're trying to make this seem like this is part of this Ozempic trend, which, just by the way, I don't think it is, but I take the point. That's why I'm including it. And while this representation is obviously, you know, it's quite challenging to look at because this is a person who's obviously in the throes of having a eating schmishmorsha, but this is quite representative of what a lot of celebrities are starting to look like these days. And I'm not sure if the use of Ozempic and other GLP-1s is really allowing people to understand where using a medication for weight loss meets eating schmishmorda. Because we're getting some line blurring happening here. There's been a lot of speculation that figures like Jessica Simpson and Scott Disick, I'm probably saying that wrong, and even Katy Perry are on Ozempic. She's probably just dying inside from dating the human vagina that is Justin Trudeau. Margot Robbie has also appeared very recently looking quite hollow, although these sort of photos can often be chalked up to natural aging and makeup and lighting, so sometimes it's really hard to tell. Demi Moore recently still stopped by the Oscars resembling a starving peacock. Emma Stone also appeared first at the 2026 BAFTAs looking like a pointy little creature. This is probably what Jamila Jamil was talking about. Gotcha. Stone was also seen again at the Oscars recently, looking even slimmer than usual. And all of this skinniness has drawn so much attention that the New York Post referred to this as the Oscars Ozempic Parade, questioning if people were brave enough to tell celebrities how sickly they look. I volunteer as tribute! A lot of these people really do look like they're fulfilling their bucket list and running out of time. Honestly, speaking of the recent 2026 Oscars, apparently the organization passed out these snack boxes to their guests, fit for an eating disorder. It includes a bag of skinny pop, which I guess is popcorn, a drink, which probably is water, and a box of Raisinets, which is absolutely hilarious, but a little bit on the nose, considering the rest of us are wondering at this juncture if celebrities are even okay, or if we need to call someone, like an ambulance. Here's your starvation box. Don't throw it up all at once now. Dude, this stuff is grim. So, and I do think this is rather obvious, what we are seeing play out here is that people are much more prepared to go on a medication and expect that to solve all of their problems rather than dedicating themselves to a healthier lifestyle. You know, like consuming an appropriate amount of calories and going to the gym. If you weren't familiar or don't know, Ozempic and drugs like it work by mimicking the hormones that help regulate appetite and blood sugar. So it slows down the rate at which food leaves your stomach and also tells your brain that you're still full. This results in rapid weight loss that just isn't achievable through conventional diet and exercise alone, and it can also leave its injectors, so the people injecting themselves, looking rather gaunt when it eats up all of their facial fat. Losing facial fat is actually what happens to a lot of people naturally as we age. I mean, some people don't have to put up with that, lucky them. But when this happens at an accelerated rate, it can leave a lot of people looking a lot older than they actually are, and also a little bit uncanny valley, and can lead to things like sagging skin and wrinkles and fine lines and whatnot. This has been lovingly dubbed Ozempic face, afflicting stars like Whoopi Goldberg, Rosie O'Donnell, and Kathy Bates. Well, that's a jump scare. Ozempic face, just by the way, is not to be confused with its lesser-known cousin, Ozempic neck, which many of these same women seem to suffer from, apparently. Ladies and gents, this stuff makes me feel like we are in the Twilight Zone, and I would like to helicopter out of here. But weirdly enough, this sort of hollowed out, gaunt face is becoming something of a weird popular facial trend. Anya Taylor-Joy prompted speculation when her face began morphing around 2022, with her cheekbones appearing much more defined and her angles much more severe. Fans began wondering if she underwent a buccal or buccal, I think it's buccal, fat removal procedure. Yes, the rich people are sucking fat out of their faces now. Apparently they all want to look like vampires. I don't know. Again, some of this can absolutely be attributed to natural aging, but a lot of it can also be attributed to a little bit of stabby stab in the facey face. This type of fat removal is basically removing fat from your cheeks to somewhat, not even somewhat, to definitely reshape your face, which gives everyone that sort of hollow gaunt look. Basically every time a celebrity pops up looking like a Tim Burton character, everyone assumes that they've had this procedure done. Anyway, the increasingly terrifyingly skinny appearances of lots of people are starting to freak out other people all over the place. And you know, I do have to admit that I do have some conflicted feelings about all of this. I overall think it's great that we are stepping out from under the umbrella of fat acceptance and obesity that basically used to cover everything. I also think that people are reacting poorly to women who have lost weight using Ozempic who are actually pretty good looking, like Meghan Trainor, for example. She looks normal. Where I start getting a bit disturbed is when I consider how the use of these drugs is starting to cross the threshold into disordered territory. And I feel like they've stopped being used as a supplemental thing, helping people lose weight, but have instead become a way to abuse their bodies. I kid you not, I just read an article today about how one of the stars of the show The Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, Layla Taylor, admitted that she had to stop using GLP-1s and go into treatment for her ED because the GLP-1s were contributing. I mean, I do get it, this is just one woman, but I can't help but think of how many other women she represents who are doing the exact same thing. It's grim, I know, but it It is a reality. As the page 6 article that I referenced earlier mentioned, the weight loss thing here has become a bit of a competition in Hollywood in particular. And I can believe that after seeing image after image of emaciated female actresses, and also thinking about the craziness surrounding Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo during the press tours for Wicked for Good, where both actresses looked frail and malnourished and people were deeply concerned. Outside of their very obvious codependency, it is startling to see these two together and feeding off each other. Pun not intended. And maybe there is a level here of this sort of ED competitiveness that has affected the other castmates as well, like Jeff Goldblum and Michelle Yeoh, who look extremely thin these days as well. I'd ask these people why they are the way that they are, but I don't think we're getting any coherent answers out of these two.
We won't have to miss each other. We won't have to.
We look nice like we're always texting.
Yes.
We're together. We see each other. Thank you.
In the light of the day, you are such a gift.
You brought such light into the room.
So with all of this said, I don't really want to bang on too much about EDs and whatnot, and whether or not you should or shouldn't be injecting yourself with these medications. I think it's very sad, for the most part, the relationship that most people have with food. On the one hand, you have those who are dedicated to reaching this unattainable level of thinness and, you know, who develop these very serious mental, physical conditions around that pursuit. But conversely, you have the other people who simply cannot get eating under control. And I do have to say that in the US context, and I know this doesn't super apply abroad and in other countries, but definitely in the US, it is hard to eat properly given how much food is saturated with just total crap that's not good for you, and we lead sedentary lifestyles, so getting out and exercising is challenging for a lot of people. And yes, all of these things are excuses at the end of the day, but they are things that make it a little bit more challenging to pursue the body that you might want to have. So I do understand objectively why it would be exciting to some people to have this drug on the market that means that they can achieve the physique and appearance that they want in large part without having to put in a tremendous amount of traditional effort. I honestly don't know a ton about the overall physical effects of GLP-1s and what they do to you in the long run, so I can't really comment in that respect, but I have to imagine they're probably not very good for you. And I'm very skeptical of anything like this that's being pushed by Big Pharma and I guess widely accepted by the general population. But I don't know, I can't comment, but that's what I'll say about that. I also think we're just seeing a huge rebound effect after all the years of messaging around body positivity and fat acceptance. People got tired of the woke nonsense, and so we have swung in the opposite direction. People don't want to be walking balloons, even if the television tells them it's okay. So now we find ourselves in a bit of a weird spot where you have all these celebrities who are getting skinnier and skinnier before our very eyes, and that has to be informing the way that other people are perceiving and feeling about themselves. We are really having this resurgence of what was going on in the 90s and early 2000s. And I think in turn, a lot of this informs people wanting to also be pointy and gaunt. As a person who has gone through life being quite pointy, not gaunt, not frail and sickly, but pointy, I definitely have concerns around all of this, and I am not thrilled about the direction in which we're heading. As I think I have made clear on this channel, I absolutely prioritize people making choices that lead to them being healthy. So going to the gym, eating properly, making sure you go outside, getting sunlight, doing all these things. This is important, and I think this should be the status quo. I don't love what I'm seeing at the moment. I don't love it. The trouble with a lot of this is, well, people don't care about the opinions of celebrities when it comes to, say, politics or who they vote for. A lot of young people do take cues from celebrities about what's cool and hip and trendy and how they should look. And if all the celebrities that you're looking at on the reg are skinny, skeletal, frameless people walking around with their bones sticking out of their spirits, then of course other people are going to see that, internalize that, particularly young women, and probably act it out themselves. So I think in large part this GLP-1 Ozempic craze has probably gone too far. I don't think that this is the worst that we've seen, and I don't think this is the absolute worst that it's going to get. We have a long way to go before it's rock bottom. So in the end, as with most of these topics, all we can really do is sit back and see how all of this plays out with relation to the celebrities. But if you are somebody who is taking these medications, I think that it's important to understand what they do, understand what they'll do to you in the long term, and just be thoughtful about what you are putting in your body. And understand, of course, that being lean can be great, but only if you are lean and healthy. Now, on that note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out Fume using the link in the description. Now is the time, children. There are so many yummy flavors. This is the time for like a new year, new you. You can do it. I believe in you. And Fume is the way to get started. So check them out. Link in the description. They've been a very cool supporter of this channel, and they'll be a cool supporter of you as well. Now I open the floor to all of you. What do you all think? Are you on my side of this issue where you think this is getting alarming? What are we doing? This is concerning. Are you on the other side where you think, nope, I think this is just celebrities being celebrities and being noodleheads and it doesn't really mean anything? Are you somewhere in the middle where you can see the concern, but ultimately maybe it's not that big of a deal? What do you think about the abuse of these medications and GLP-1s? Do you think that we were always going to trend in this direction because of how people relate to their bodies? Do you think it's good? Do you think it's bad? Do you think that the overemphasis on obesity has led to this point? What do you think of everything around that? Do you think that the abuse of Ozempic is actually making women develop EDs and they're becoming anorexics and whatnot as a result of all of this? And what do you generally think of this issue overall? As always, if you have made it this far in the video, congratulations. I always like having you along for the full ride. If you are new here and you're not subscribed already and you would like to see more of me and more of this kind of content, feel free to subscribe to the channel as well as leaving this video a like and a comment, because I do read the majority of them and I like hearing your feedback. Like I always say, my little chickadee people, I hope you stay safe and well and make good choices and go and eat your dinner or your lunch or your breakfast wherever you are in the world, and I will see your wonderful little faces in the next video.